recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios Brisbane on 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Z Games.
With 10 years experience and over 500 episodes,
Z Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture.
Want to reach out? Message us on Facebook at ZEDGamesAU.
This is Z Games. I'm your host Paul, and joining me tonight are my good friends Cam.
G'day.
And Peter.
Yayo.
Ayo. That's very well. That's what we do. How's it going, fellas?
Oh, great.
Yeah,
I'm pumped.
I'm having a pretty damn good week so far.
Well, that's good. And how is everybody at home?
Excellent. Glad to hear it.
Great.
Yeah.
I do. We aren't supposed to leave too much dead air, so that's enough of the
How's that
dramatic
rash coming?
pause. The anticipation was killing me. I once did the old I tremble with antice, and I did 8 months. I feel like because it was long enough that they got the joke still, that it wasn't forgotten.
Yep.
But so I got to see if I can push it.
Love that
Push it
long
one day.
payoff.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's been another week. Some more games played. Tonight we'll be doing some discussion of games, namely some reviews. So we'll be talking about Street Fighter 6 and the just released Viewfinder. But for now, before we get too excited, let's listen to some of that news.
News! Welcome to the news. Neopets has gone independent. Dominic Law is the new CEO of the Neopets team after a management buyout deal was made, allowing Neopets to become independent after its old owners, Jumpstart Games, was shut down on June 30th, 2023. In a blog post, the newly formed team outlined its goal to shift away from NFTs and crypto and revitalize the website, as well as the creation of a new mobile app, World of Neopets. Basically, after running at a loss for over a decade, they've got a new team and new funding and a whole page of corporate speak saying they're gonna fix up the place. Baldur's Gate 3! Insert bear pun here. Because I'm doing the news, I get to choose what I talk about, and I want to talk about the fact that in Baldur's Gate 3 you can get freaky with a bear. In the Panel from Hell release showcase, Larian Studios was showing off the game's romance aspects, and the internet exploded when it was revealed you can get intimate with one of your party members in their bear form. I'm pretty sure there's a deeper conversation here about sex scenes in games and all that, but I'm trapped in the news and I have no time for that, so instead I'm just here to say lol bear sags and leave it at that. Queensland Games Festival. This Saturday. And it's that time again, friends and enemies. The newly renamed Queensland Games Festival is this Saturday. Previously known as Game On Festival, or Go 423 if you're nasty, this is a free public event where you can get your peepers on the newest locally made games and meet the people who make them. The event is on the 22nd of July at the Brisbane Powerhouse from 10 a.m, so come on over and support the local Brisbane game industry. And now for some releases. On July 20, we have Homeseek for PC, Kill Squad for PlayStation, Punch Club 2 Fast Forward for PC, and Holy, also for PC. On July 21, we have Pikmin 4 for the Switch, and Symphony for the PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch. July 24, we have Super Catboy for PC. July 25, Remnant 2 for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X. And finally, on July 26, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart for PC. And that's all this week in gaming news.
Thank you for the news there, Caroline. We had some bear sex and some Neopets. But can you have bear sex with a Neopet? That is the question we're here to answer.
Well, I didn't know that's what I was coming into tonight.
That's what the rest of the show is about. I played Neopets. I think it was Neopets, but it feels like it was 25 years ago. Has it been around that long? Am I confusing it with something else? I remember having a thing called Woodle.
The grey hairs in my beard are telling me it's about 25 years, and frankly, I'm just a little bit disappointed that I remember Neopets.
Yeah.
But they're finally free to lead the lives they want to lead.
Yeah, I'm glad that the main developer decided to go take it private away from corporate and everything else like that. That's
I mean, I also think the whole arse end is falling out of NFT games. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah. They're probably told we're going to cancel this, and like, well, what if we just take it and you can keep all of your crap? And they did.
yeah.
I do love hearing stories about developers getting the games they made back to
Yep.
them.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the Hitman guys, they got given that back.
I
and-
was shocked they got to keep a lot of their IP, actually, not just Hitman. They got most of that. I think yeah, we can get another Kane Lynch. Oh yeah, if we're lucky.
That would be nice. That was a good one.
Yeah, I think one of the first games I installed on my Steam Deck was Kane Lynch 2.
Ooh.
There's something about the absolutely horrendous aesthetic of that game, of like a glitchy, chopped up video with like effects over it and blurs and I know it was literally one of the biggest scandals in hate reviews in like media on the internet. But you know, people are allowed to not like it. But yeah, I liked it. I was a sucker for aesthetic.
It was the golden era of like post-processing effects, and like let's turn them all on at the same time.
Let's go. Anyway, also Baldur's Gate Bear Sex. Caroline neglected to mention, once the Bear Sex was revealed, sales shot up significantly. So I think a few 100%.
That's what we call a hole in the market.
That's right. In the
hole in something.
bearcat.
Yeah.
A hole in the bearcat.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, of course you can have sex with it. You can be a druid. You can turn into all sorts of animals. There's apparently you can turn into a wheel of cheese.
Can you have sex with the cheese?
That is exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Only if it's Swiss, I guess.
Whatever's gooder for you.
So you're listening to Zed Games, is that it?
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Hello, you're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games. You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Perfect. Thank you.
This is Zed Games. I'm joined by my good friends Cam and Peter.
Hello.
And right now we're going to get into what I like to call a review.
Woo.
Yo, we're reviewing. It's cool. Kick, punch. Punch,
Down, forward, punch.
Wow.
Up,
It's
down.
not getting fought.
No, we're Street Cleaners 6.
Street Cleaner 6.
Yeah, streets.
That'll be good.
Streets. This is
Kind of wanted to fight the street.
this is a review by not me.
No, it's by me, who was not you.
That's right. And you should count yourself lucky every day.
I don't know about that. I think I do all right. Anyway, I want to talk about Street Fighter 6, but I also want to talk about Street Fighter. And if you've met me for more than 5 minutes, you'll know one thing, is that for the last 30-odd years, I've been in a long-term committed relationship with Street Fighter.
I didn't know that.
Oh, hey, I'm in a long-term committed relationship with Street Fighter.
Now I feel like I know you.
It's been about the 5-minute mark.
There we go. And like it's ever since the first game where we're just looking across the room at each other, me an angry young teenager who wanted to hit things, you a weird Street Fighter 1 cabinet with that punch cushion thing that you had to actually punch, but if you missed, your knuckles would scrape on the metal and you'd bloody up your knuckles. Anyway,
Just adds to the aesthetic.
it does. It was lovely. I was covered in blood at the first game. But after Street Fighter 2 hit the Super Nintendo, that was it. It was a long... I was in this for the long haul. And we've been through so many adventures together. Like, I love buying the same game over and over again. It taught me that. Every year I'd get a new chance to buy Street Fighter again. And then it branched out into like the high points of the Alpha series or the weird 3D EX games they did in the mid-90s as their answer to Tekken. And even the Street Fighter movie game was, it was a thing. But it was great. It was an adventure, right? And then it led all the way up to Street Fighter 4, which was incredible. And like I was just going from strength to strength to strength. This relationship just got better and better and better. And then Street Fighter 5 happened.
That was quite the release.
Yes.
It tested me in ways I didn't realize I was going to be tested. Inside was the Street Fighter that I loved, right? But it was warped by these ultra demanding combos and this weird V-trigger system that I never really clicked with. And it's just all the grinding. Good lord, so much grinding, right? It was a struggle. I bought my PS4 just for Street Fighter 5 and... It's got a lot of dust on it.
You could have just played Street Fighter 2 again.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just play Street Fighter 2 and 3. There you go. You got 5 again.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. True.
Or Marvel vs. Capcom.
Oh, bless them. But, while I think I'm the best Street Fighter player that I know, and I'm probably not, but I haven't played against you guys, but the reality is I've actually never won an online match either, and Street Fighter 5 just broke me. It was tuned for hardcore players through the roof. Like, it was really geared towards, like, the Evo thing, the tournaments and stuff like that, and I love watching that, but I'm hopeless at anything like that. But Street Fighter 6, though, whole new game. Literally. Like, I really feel like they've just rewritten the rules from the ground up, and I'm in love again. It's a whole new relationship. I'm one of these weird middle-aged people that have, I'm going to renew my vows kind of things, and drag all their friends to a wedding they don't want to go to.
Yep, out of town, cost the money.
Yes.
What's it here before?
How long do you give these to? Anyway. But, yeah, they made a fighting game for everyone. If you don't like the characters in Street Fighter, you can make your own. There's this really cool create your own character thing, and you can come up with some abominations against God-looking creatures with gangly arms and weird-looking heads that are tiny and big long legs, but you can walk around in the Street Fighter world and go into fights. That's a cool idea.
I think I saw Kratos in a video somewhere.
Yeah. It's a great little character. Customize the thing. It's very comprehensive.
Is there much to do in the world other than walk around and find fights?
Okay. What's interesting is you can eat noodles and catch buses and walk around the town. And every time you walk up to someone and fight them, just a random, there's NPCs everywhere, and you just walk around and go, I want to fight, and you go into a fight.
Is this Yakuza or Street Fighter?
Well, that's the thing. It feels like Yakuza.
Yeah. The way that you're describing that just sounds like Yakuza.
Yeah.
Minus some of the mini games.
Yeah, you can get into multi-people fights, and the backgrounds look like a Street Fighter background. It's very cool. You can find actual Street Fighter characters and then join their school and learn their moves, so your character can have some of Chun-Li's moves, or some of Ryu's moves, or some of Luke's moves. And Luke's a terrible character.
Luke's a new boy. Well, he's not new, but he's headliner new.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, if you think the controls are too complex, the controls are being completely reworked. You no longer have to learn combos. That was a fundamental that goes back all the way to Street Fighter 1.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore. They've made it like Smash Brothers. There is just a super attack button. If you press that and up, it does a different attack. Press that and down, it does something different.
That's outrageous. How about the pro players?
Well, that's what's really amazing me, is how inclusive the pro players have felt about the classic controls versus simple controls battles. Everyone's just like, yeah, that's totally valid. If you want to play that way, you are just as much a Street Fighter player as anyone else. I think it's amazing.
It brings people in.
Yes.
There's no reason not to have that.
Exactly. It's beautiful the way it's bringing a new generation of players in who go, I don't want to learn all this. This is way too complex. This is the 6th game. I need to be this pro player. No, you don't. Just press the attack button, and you are just as good as anyone else.
Yeah, and when you have that kind of basic, it's like Smash, where, okay, you pick a new character that you haven't played. Everyone just take 20 seconds at the start of the match just to push every direction and see what your moveset is. Okay, now we know what we're doing. Off we go.
It's like that back in the old days where you're like, don't hit me for 5 seconds. Hang on, I just got to figure this out.
Yeah, I got to try this out. Or at worst, when we got the pause menus with the move list in it, and one person keeps pausing the game to look at the move list.
Yep, I remember that. No, the one thing that's very key with me sort of idea is, what is the time to fun in the game? From the moment you boot it up and it's loaded, and you can press that start button, how much time goes past until I'm having fun?
I will admit there is a long tutorial intro kind of thing before I'm just like, just let me punch someone in the face.
Yep.
Which is very annoying.
Like story intro?
Story intro. Luke welcomes you to your fighting tournament. You do your character customization. He teaches you some basic moves. He takes you to the city. Okay, cool, you're off.
Yep.
You're away. After that, you can just go, I don't care about any of that stuff, and just go into the fighting mode. There is an arcade mode, which is like, you just fight 6 characters and you have an ending to your character.
Yep.
Great. But most of the time, we're just playing custom matches, like casual matches or ranked matches, right? Which is just you play against people. And that's great. That's super simple. And what I really love about it is this is the first Street Fighter game with commentary.
Yes, I was very much looking forward to that feature if they pulled it off.
It's very good. However, if you're a basic scrub player who keeps doing the same moves over and over again,
Guilty.
Like myself.
Guilty.
You'll keep hearing the same commentary over and over again, right? If you mix it up, and then you'll hear new stuff. And there's more. There's Japanese commentators and English commentators, and there's also color commentary actors who do the Evo tournaments as well. So it's nice to hear those voices again.
Okay.
Who are like, they're cheering me on. And like, that's cool. I feel like I'm good at this.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the point. The first time in playing Street Fighter, like I play it, I buy it again and again every year. And when they started doing it on like the Xbox 360, where it's like, it's got online now, you can play online. I go, great, I'm going to buy Street Fighter 2 again. I've never ever won an online match, ever, in my entire history.
Oh.
Until last week, Street Fighter 6.
Yay.
Like, that's growth, right? So I feel like the relationship is growing.
Yep.
We're moving into new territory, and I couldn't be more happier. So Street Fighter 6, it's beautiful.
You built that plateau, you built that house, you're now going up the mountain more.
We've had troubles, we've worked through them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is actually a feature I saw, but I haven't played it yet. But it made me so excited, I thought it was so obvious. Why have we not done this yet? I saw a fighting mode that didn't have health bars. Instead, it had challenges.
Oh, yeah, you can do like things where it's like, hit someone 3 times or do this combo or something like that. And it's not about like beating them silly. It's about like performing a move or
stopping the other person performing their move.
Exactly.
It's
the
like
parry system works really well.
Like a horse sort of system. Who can do it first or continue to keep doing it until
Is it
someone
the same
fails,
challenges
or?
for each person, or have they got separate
Different
ones?
challenges
Different
for each
challenges.
person.
Okay, so
but
not
they're
quite like horse.
They're listed at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, they've knocked off this one. And I saw that, I was like, this is such a different approach to having a fight and really interesting. But yeah, so that was fun.
Me and Cam playing our usual moves over. And
Yeah,
over again.
because I've only ever played the one character throughout the entire series, and I don't want to mix it up. So yeah, what I also really love, just really quick shout out, is that there is a hub, what's called Battle Hub, which is like an online lobby, and you can take your character in there and then walk around and then find other players and match up against them.
Okay.
And there's all these, and the motif is there's Street Fighter 6 arcade cabinets everywhere, and you sit down and someone joins you. But in the corner, there's a classic arcade section where if you want to play Street Fighter 2 again and pay for it, they'll let you do that. And I can buy Street Fighter inside Street Fighter, and I'm so
That's
happy.
awesome. Almost a mini VR chat, but Street Fighter chat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Play within a play.
Social space.
This is Z Games. I am Paul, and join me Peter and Cam.
Yay.
I switched it the other way this time.
Indeed.
And you know what time it is?
Nap time.
Different time.
Time for another review. This review is by me. I'm going to do something different than the normal tune I do now. Waka 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 waka. Get out your eyes, get out your cameras, get out your ocular transplants. It's time for Viewfinder. Woo!
But what is Viewfinder?
Yeah, what is it?
Viewfinder is a game by Sad Owl Studios, the Scottish studio we're all aware of. They're known for Viewfinder. And being no, this is their first game.
Oh, right.
Viewfinder has been somewhat prolific in the indie scene on the internet for a few years now, because it's was a kind of wild tech demo going in sort of the realm of like your anti-chambers and your superliminals. It has a lot to do with perspective. So this game mainly advertises itself as you having a camera. It's a first-person game. It's a puzzler. Think sort of an aesthetic like The Witness.
Ooh,
and
okay.
you walk around and you can take a picture of something, and then that picture you can hold up to somewhere else in the world and release it, and that geometry will then fit into the world in pretty intuitive ways. It took me pretty much the whole game to try and kind of work out the basic math they were doing for it. At first, it's just magic, and if you're so inclined, you can kind of work it out. But the thing is, it just mostly works. The big question, of course, was an idea like this is a puzzle game. Can it have much in the way of legs? It's like, okay, well, I want to go to that far away place. I took a picture of it, and then I put a copy of it right next to me. That's obvious. So how much more complex can we get? So they've broken the game up into primarily 4 hubs, then with a final hub at the end. But those 4 hubs are exploring each of these sort of 4 characters' workspaces. The game has sort of a plot about, from what I can tell, climate change orientated. The world is dying, and to quickly find a solution, they put like 4 scientists in like a VR simulator so they could work for a very long time, but in a split second. But something happened, and you've gone in there to try and find their results. I can't really tell you the plot because I didn't care. There's little notes everywhere. There's people that talk to you. There's a Cheshire cat around that talks to you a bit, and you can pet it.
And it's like the cat's got holes in it.
Yeah. Well, that was the Cheshire cat thing. Yeah, he's a VR cat. It's quite. You are very explicitly in VR. They're not saying it's a real space.
Right?
Can you pet the cat?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, go.
Yep.
Game of the year.
So they also then break up. So you don't always have your camera. Sometimes you have your camera. Sometimes you just are picking up photos and using those photos. Especially in that sort of area, because a photo acts more like a portal than the... I'm using the same term for 2 things. A picture you take versus a photo you find can act like a portal into another world. Mm-hmm. So if you walk through it, you can be in an entirely different space. And early on in the game, they give you a good demonstration of this, where you're walking through geometry, found a photo, put it down. Oh, look, now I'm in a garden. And then they start going, yeah, but what if you put down a blueprint? And you walk into a blueprint world, and then I'll put in an oil painting, and I'll walk into that, and I'll put down Quake, and I'll walk into Quake. It's like 320 by 240, low res, going around, all that. And it's got a lot of really fun aesthetics. And I'm sorry to tell you on that area, other than a couple of puzzles later, which the aesthetic still doesn't really matter, it just needs to be there for the puzzle, that doesn't matter. That never actually comes into gameplay at all. But it looks pretty. So a lot of this game will be you enjoying the aesthetic and doing cool things with geometry. Puzzle-wise, you are looking at sort of, I'm going to call it a medium difficulty casual game. Like, this is nowhere near The Witness. But it does have some complexity. I thought about halfway through the game, because I got it quite shortly before this show, I'm like, I can blast through a puzzle game. Like, okay, I'm about halfway through the game. This is fine. I'm well paced. And then I just got stumped. I'm like, okay. And I'm doing the most intricate millimeter fine, like taking this, because on the other side of that wall, when it's rotated and put in, it makes sort of a platform and you can kind of get up there and everything. And I went to, because it just released the day before, I went to YouTube and I was like, I'm going to find a walkthrough and just look at the solution to this puzzle because I need to finish this game for thing. And as soon as he got to the puzzle, I just went, oh, wait, I just totally forgot I could pick things up. I'm like, no, I'm not watching any of this. Turn it off, walked in, solved it in like 10 seconds. I'm like, okay.
I love it when you forget an ability. And it's just like, why can I not solve this?
I can jump.
Oh, yes, I've forgotten I can jump in many a game.
Yep.
So it's sort of a good difficult. It's also a good thing to share if someone wants to play it casually together, because it is very accessible, very bright. And the puzzles do continue being, they expand. They don't really repeat themselves very often. But also because of that, there isn't that much you can do with a concept. So the game really comes in about me, as I'm going to call myself, an all-right puzzle player, a little under 3 hours for me.
That sounds great.
But also, yes, I'm also the same way. That isn't a bad thing necessarily.
No.
Because you also don't want a game like this to just be endless
many
of the same
hours.
puzzles. It explores its concept thoroughly, and when it's done, it's just sort of out. Sometimes I was kind of surprised that they would just use an idea once. And you're like, you could probably have expanded on it a little. Okay, moving on, let's do something else.
No, that's...
It is very pleasant to play, very nice aesthetic.
What's the price point for a 3-hour game then?
The price point? Well, let's do some... Look at me. I'm doing some research.
Well, while you're looking
my
that
code
up,
was provided by the publisher, and I can check it. Yes, tell
while
me
you're
its
looking
tale.
that up, like what I'm reminded of when I see Viewfinder is what I felt when I first saw Portal.
Yeah,
like it's one of those games you look at for 5 seconds, you go, "Oh, I've never seen anything like this." And
it's introducing some sort of new mechanic that makes you just go, "This is a possibility now."
Yeah, right.
Like this wasn't possible 20 years ago, sort of thing.
No,
10 years ago.
No, like brilliant. But my question there is, okay, well, it's got that mind-bending aspect of Portal, and it's got that short gameplay length of Portal, because I think Portal was like 2 or 3 hours, really.
Yeah, only about 2 hours, the first one.
Does it have, say, the humour and the story that really drove Portal along for me?
I wouldn't say so, no. It certainly doesn't have the level of characters. It has some characters, but they don't. It's not that. Portal's on another level of writing.
Yeah.
This isn't going to go down as a classic like that. I would probably put this higher than something like Superliminal if you played that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Probably on par with Antichamber, but a little bit easier. Because Antichamber was quite hard in some ways. It really required like 4D mapping in your brain, which is not something that easily comes to most of us. So it looks
doesn't?
like... I pretend it does.
Yep.
So we're looking at about $35 Australian for Viewfinder. It's on PC and on PlayStation 5.
Okay.
I actually thought it was on more things, but I'm wrong for now, at least.
Not on the Commodore 64?
No, unfortunately. I played it on Steam Deck, and it just ran 60 solid. It's pretty. It plays really smoothly. It's great. You don't need fine motor control for it.
Good.
Yeah, you don't need to figure out a lot of mechanics or time-based stuff, I imagine. It's
there is time-based stuff, but it's not time-based stuff that needs you to be split-second. If you understand the puzzle, you will do it without any trouble.
Right.
If you don't understand the puzzle, you will run out of time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And actually, one of the main features that I love in any puzzle game these days, a rewind button.
Okay. Yep, that's good.
So if you place a bit of geometry and it's wrong, if you double tap rewind, you'll just go back to the last major thing you did, or you could just casually hold it and just rewind your way all the way through the entire level. Which means if you fall off the edge of the world and into nothingness, you can just zoom back up. Don't have to waste your time redoing things or anything. It's very conscious of your time.
More games should be friendly like that.
Yes, I think so. So yes, Viewfinder, it's a very enjoyable, quite pretty, but I would say each level, while the levels change, it's more like a color scheme that changes more than most of the geometry. They're all like working in this same sort of space. But yeah, very accessible for something that looks kind of crazy. Quite intuitive.
It sounds like something where it's like, if you're sick of, I'm always playing the same thing over and over again. Well, here you go.
Viewfinder is very different in that respect. And yeah, it's sort of like, I said, like the different styles. It's like, it's a great tech demo. And they did make it a game more than a tech demo. Cool. But some scenes are just like, this is a tech demo. This puzzle, you just want to show that off. Okay, I get it.
If this is their first game then, but it's technically a glorified tech demo if they've just expanded it out sort of thing, worthwhile investing in. Give them the money now to see what they could come up with next on there.
Exactly. It's a very solid package. And I had, for a game that's about literally ripping the world apart with geometry, and I had encountered no bugs whatsoever.
That's awesome.
So, good times.
That was review. You should listen to it. Word.
You did. Unless you just started listening now.
Then rewind.
To Z Games.
I'm glad you got a new perspective.
Hold me. Hey!
Viewpoint.
Okay. I don't know why I need to do that. I like having accents that are non-distinguishable. They're just a bit bad in all ways. So you can always get yourself out of a situation. Like, no, I'm just an idiot.
Yeah.
Me being an idiot does get me out of many situations. This is Z Games. I'm Paul. Joining me are Cam and Peter.
G'day.
And, we're just having a little chat before we say our good nights for the night. So, what have we been playing recently, my lads?
Well, obviously Street Fighter 6.
I've heard of it.
A lot of Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom is still... Like, it's to the point where, like, I'm also playing Animal Crossing at the same time. Like,
you can't...
But
how long have you been Animal Crossing in?
Yeah, but I'm buying turnips now, and I need to log in every day to see how much turnips are.
Oh, have you only just got into the stock market?
I've only just got into the stock market, right? Yeah. So that's unlocking a couple of things. But that requires me to, like, unplug the cartridge and then put in another cartridge.
Oh, buying things physically.
God, my life is so
Have
hard.
you played or tried Dinkum?
No. What is Dinkum?
Animal Crossing, but Australian.
Oh, beauty.
And it's on PC.
Yeah. Sweet.
No, you can... I've been playing that one for many, many months now. It's actually just come up to its 1-year anniversary. So good on James Bendon, a solo developer from somewhere in Australia, sort of thing. But it's absolutely adorable.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely worthwhile checking out if you haven't had a chance yet. It's like $20-$30 on Steam or something. But
it's
been getting
That's worthwhile.
I remember when I
pretty
first saw
consistently.
it, I thought it was a non-Australian making it based in Australia. I thought it was weird.
No, it is very clearly Australian. I'm part of a community on Facebook for it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there has been people all over the world joining this community recently going, this is lovely. I love the Australian aesthetic. And they love the two different types of mews, which we very much know as cassowaries and emus. They think they're one animal and just one is extremely violent and one is not.
Oh, they've never played Thai? Come on, Boss Cass.
There's wombats that you have to shear like sheep. No, that's the platypuses, sorry. You have to shear them like sheep.
You got to shear the platypus.
You got to shear the platypus. That's how you get your wool in the game. Wombats you milk because they're like cows.
I love the idea that, we know it's made by an Australian, but I love the idea that it could have been made by someone who looked at Australia once and then just doing it from memory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it could very much be that too. But no, it is really in-depth, and eventually you get all the farming equipment and things like that as well, so you're driving around in a tractor doing all your farming and stuff. My favorite part's going down into the deep mines, which are randomly made instances, and it keeps adding more and more levels with more difficulty and more rare minerals and stuff like that to get. So that's one I've been enjoying a lot recently. And it's up to 4 players, so you can work on a world or island that's all generated randomly as well, with a couple of friends and stuff, and you can have your own houses and whatnot on the island too.
Very Animal Crossing.
Yeah. It very much is just that, but Australian.
Sounds fair dinkum.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! What about you? What have you been playing?
Other than shooting through Viewfinder, I've been mostly playing Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals, which I kind of really wanted to try and get done for this week, but I do not have the time to play. Because whilst I said I didn't pay attention to Viewfinder's story, I mean, you can't not pay attention to Oxenfree.
Yeah,
it's nice to see because so Oxenfree, if you're not aware, it's kind of like Stranger Things aesthetic before Stranger Things, but its big thing was natural conversations as you walked around this island, this adventure game. People were with you, and it was a bit Firewatchy where you could choose to respond or not. You would interrupt each other and get back to conversations, and they had a follow-up game, After Party, which just wasn't very good. Just didn't. I don't think it worked for many people. It wasn't buggy mess or anything. It was just a concept that didn't work. It was about drinking in hell. So they've gone back to Oxenfree, and they've still got it, so far at least.
How many playthroughs is this one going to need?
I don't know yet. It's like I've had great fun. Well, let's say that people online saying, "Oh, I wasn't sure about the ending of Oxenfree." I'm like, "Wait, what do you mean by ending? Did you just watch credits?" Yes, it's like you got about halfway through the game.
Yep. No, that was one of my favorite things about the first one. It's just like, this is the ending. It was 20 minutes long. No, that wasn't the ending.
You know what it is? It's like, when they have fireworks on for kids at New Year's Eve at 7:30. It's like, okay, that's your fireworks. Off you go.
Yeah,
just for little ones.
The first game subverts your expectations in a number of ways. So I'm interested to see what this one does, knowing what it's built on.
Does it still have the same teenage coming of age mystery aesthetic?
No, you're playing sort of more like a mid-20s adult.
Okay. Time's moved on a little bit.
Yeah, different characters altogether. Okay. You're not even on the island.
Young adult problems now.
But it is intertwined with the first games.
These characters walking around going, "Should I get superannuation? I don't know.
Should I?
Can I buy a house? No." Okay.
Okay.
Very
enough scaring the listeners with house buying. Thank you for listening to Zed Games. Join us next week. And if you are in Brisbane, come along to Powerhouse this Saturday from 10 a.m. onwards for
10 till 5.
Till 5. Yeah.
Yes.
For the game for
Queensland Games
Festival, which is a much more understandable name than the old one.
Yes.
Try out a bunch of people, meet a bunch of people, including us.
Yeah, check out the local game scene, all the different developers that are coming along, chat to them. It's free, so bring the family
and have fun. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yes,
bye. Thank
you. We love you very.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, check out our podcast on Spotify.
Or follow us on social media at ZED Games AU.
See you next time.